Good morning to all. I am Shruti from CSM Department of Section C. Today I am going to discuss about a brief explanation on the topic active voice and passive voice. First, let's have an overview on this topic. First, we are going to discuss about introduction and what is active voice, what is passive voice. Next, characteristics of active voice and characteristics of passive voice, and when to use active voice and when to use passive voice, converting active voice into passive voice, examples of active voice and passive voice, and finally conclusion. First, let's discuss about the introduction to voice in grammar. Voice in grammar describes the relationship between the subject and the action in a sentence. There are two main types of voice. Active, and first is active and second is passive voice. Understanding the difference helps improve clarity and variety in speaking and writing. And next is about what is active voice. In active voice, the subject performs the action expressed by the verb. It usually makes sentences clear and more direct. Example, the chef cooked a delicious meal. And next we discuss about what is passive voice. In passive voice, the subject receives the action expressed by the verb. The doer of the action may be included or omitted. Example, a delicious meal was cooked by the chef. And next is about characteristics of active voice. The structure typically follows a subject verb object order. It emphasizes the doer of the action. It tends to be more concise and engaging. And next is about characteristics of passive voice. The structure often follows a subject verb plus past participle pattern. It emphasizes the action or the recipient of the action rather than the doer. It can be useful when the doer is unknown or unimportant. And when we look into characteristics, the first point, it follows in passive it follows subject verb plus past participle. In active it follows subject verb object order. And in second point it emphasizes the action or the recipient of the action rather than doer in passive voice. In active voice it emphasizes the doer of the action. And it can be useful when the doer is unimportant or unknown. In passive voice. When to use active voice? Use active voice to make your writing more direct and lively. It is preferred in most types of writing, including reports and storytelling. It helps in clearly identifying who is performing the action. And when to use passive voice? Use passive voice when the focus is on the action or object rather than the doer. It is helpful when the doer is unknown, unimportant, or deliberately omitted. It can also be useful in formal or scientific writing. Converting active voice to passive voice. Here in this, identify the object of the active sentence to become the subject of the passive sentence. Change the verb to the appropriate form of to be plus past participle. Adjust the sentence to include or omit the doer as needed. And last, when we'll discuss about examples of active voice and passive voice. In the active voice, the example is given like the teacher explains the lesson, and they are asked to convert it into passive voice. It is converted like the lesson is explained by the teacher. Both sentences convey the same meaning, but they differ in emphasis and structure. And the structure related to that, active voice and passive voice. As we discussed earlier, in active voice it follows subject verb object order, and in passive voice it follows subject order plus past participle. And when we come to conclusion, and this is the last, active voice is generally preferred for clarity and engagement. Passive voice is useful in specific contexts where focus on the action or object is needed. Practice converting sentences to understand and effectively use both voices. And this is about my topic, active voice and passive voice, which is explained briefly. Thank you.